Hello, everybody. It's Alex Serchenko here, as always, at this time on Fridays. We are hosting here on YouTube or X the Friday Alpha Leaks from Aurora. This is a live stream during which we are sharing the updates from the Aurora ecosystem and also answering the questions that you are able to ask down there in the comment section. So, without further ado, let's dive into the updates. This week was pretty uh, full of different news, and there are lots of things that we need to discuss. So let's go. First of all, on the this week was the one of the biggest events and traditionally a pretty big conference for the Aurora community, which is ECC, Ethereum Community Conference. This week, this conference, this year, this conference has changed its location and moved directly to Brussels, Belgium. And together with Waffles, you were able to find during this conference my talk about Forwarder. For everybody who are in the Aurora community, obviously, you are fully aware about the Forwarder. It was launched a couple of months ago. However, to share it with the wider ecosystem, to share it with more people, and to show our thinking about the Forwarder, this talk was presented there. For everybody who, because of some reason, doesn't know about the Forwarder is the tool that allows you to connect your Aurora Cloud chain to the on-ramping and centralized exchanges that are operating on Near or Aurora mainnet. And this is a very nice tool because on Near there are officially launched USDC and USDT stablecoins, and they are listed on big exchanges like OKX, Binance, and others. So Forwarder allows users of specific Aurora Cloud chains, including Aurora mainnet and others, just to move their liquidity directly into these networks by sending these assets into some specifically created forwarding smart contracts that are just receiving these assets and forwarding them to the user wallets. The reason why we believe that this is a super important thing is that the use of bridges is not something that people are gonna get used to in the ordinary Web2 life. It is absolutely okay for them to plug in some specific information about complicated bank transfer, like put in the correspondent bank, put in some additional bank details, some additional numbers, BIC, all of the stuff. So that's absolutely okay for them. But what they would like to do is that just to do it once, not, and then everything should be working. So Forwarder is exactly that tool. You are able to go to aurora.plus, click on the Forwarder tab, and there you're going to see your kind of details for the assets to be transferred to your account, which you are able to plug in directly into Binance when you're withdrawing your assets from there. So that's a cool technology, and this technology is a cornerstone for the bridge abstraction idea that we are moving forward, which is obviously a part of the chain abstraction thesis about which we're going to talk a little bit later. This talk is available is going to be available at least on YouTube channel. So in case in case you have not been able to watch it, you're obviously welcome to go and find it on the official ECC resources. However, besides that, there was an additional talk that I was hosting, that I was doing, and this talk was about a completely different thing. A thing that at first sight is even not connected to Aurora. Already for some period of time, Aurora team has invested resources and our time into the development of a new project, which is called Diffuse. Diffuse is a multi-chain DeFi hub, which is based on the ideas of chain abstraction. And what it allows people to do is to access any DeFi on any chain, any DeFi applications on any chain, and also perform different financial actions or different actions with financial instruments directly on the platform. In a simplified thinking, you can think of diffuse as a multi-chain DEX, but in fact, it is much more than that. You're able to watch this presentation, and also you're able to go to diffuse.org and find the website for the diffuse application. So there are quite a lot of information that is available here. You're able to read through all of the stuff. Again, diffuse is going a little bit sideways from the Aurora. However, we are going to cover some of the core updates for diffuse here, obviously, too. And you're also able to read some additional documentation about diffuse. And actually, diffuse is in its alpha version at the moment. It allows you to swap assets on the near protocol. And the interesting thing is that if we're going to update the page, so we are kind of doing the proper calculation of the prices, you can see that the current amount of near that we are able to get from diffuse when swapping from USDT to 2,500 USDTs here in comparison with other solution that is working, DeFi solution that is working on the Nero blockchain directly, you're able to see that this transfer is going to deliver to you 516 Rev Near tokens, while diffuse is going to give you 518 Rev Near. In general, the mean amount how diffuse is like the additional amount of money that diffuse delivers to you in the swap is approximately 0.5 to 1%, and the more you're swapping, the bigger is your additional return. And the reason why this is possible is because diffuse is not built on a traditional AMM architecture. Instead of this, it is built on so-called intent architecture, where the users are publishing their intents while the specific active market participants, solvers or market makers, they are competing with each other for implementing this intent. And the cool thing about this approach is that these active market participants are able to tap into the liquidity that is not directly sitting in DeFi, but rather is available on the centralized exchanges. And this liquidity is much deeper than the liquidity available on DeFi, even for very liquid assets like Near and USDT on particular chains. So that's the reason why Diffuse is able to give you the best price on Near protocol right now. At the moment, for swapping Near native assets, Diffuse is the most capital efficient protocol, and I urge you not to trust me, but rather go and check it by yourself on the diffuse.org. Please remember that Diffuse is the alpha version. It is in its alpha version. It is just the first version that we wanted to show and collect feedback. There are limitations on the amount of assets that you're able to swap here. So nothing above 10,000 US dollars would be just literally impossible to swap. Smart contracts are programmed the way that there is this limitation. However, I urge you to be very, very careful as this piece of software potentially might be broken. There is no security audit here. So anything that you are doing here is at your own risks. But as Diffuse is going to progress, as the chain signatures, which is the cornerstone of the chain abstraction, is going to be delivered to the Near protocol mainnet, we are going to see here with you an ability not only to swap USDT on Near blockchain to other Near assets, but you will be also able to swap them to assets on other chains through the chain signatures. This will be super simple. You already see in this that this is like a Uniswap type front end. Imagine a Uniswap type front end when you're able to swap USDT into ETH, into Bitcoin, into Sol, into who knows, Cardano, and all of these available at your fingertips at extremely low prices and super efficient with the liquidity of the whole world available. This is only the start of the diffuse. So transactions involving uh, orders for the fungible tokens is only the beginning. Diffuse is capable of much more things than that. But I already feel that I'm overwhelming you a little bit with the information about diffuse. We're going to talk more about it over time. And at this moment in time, let's just try to swap 100 USDT and see how things are going to go. So this is how the swap is looking like. Estimated time is 2 minutes, but usually the transaction is much faster than that. This is my Near account that is signing this transaction. As you can see, it requires just a little bit of Near in order to make sure that there is an NEP 141 transfer that is happening. This is just 1 YOK to Near. That's the standard how it is working. As you can see here, my intent was published. And now, after the publishing of the intent on the blockchain, solvers are at the moment are competing and trying to pick up the intent and resolve it. And as you can see here, this intent was actually resolved. We are able to see in the Explorer how the transaction was done. So there was this transaction where I was depositing these 100 Tether tokens as an intent. This is just a testing thing. This is a testing smart contract. But also we can see that after that transaction, there was a transaction that an additional FOMO solver number 2. This was my transaction. This is what the action for me depositing this 100 USDT, and then it was an action from this FOMO solver to Near, who was depositing wrapped Near assets, and after the deposit, the resolution of these actions were happening, and FOMO solver was receiving these 100 Tether tokens while the corresponding wrapped Near assets were transferring to my account. So if you want to see this, then that's the transaction that was done, right? So this is a transfer of wrapped Near and then transfer of the assets back. So that's a cool thing. You can think of diffuse also, as you can see here, as kind of peer-to-peer OTC desk, because this liquidity was not touching any AMM pools on Near, and because of this, it was that efficient. So again, for everybody who are interested in diffuse, I welcome you to diffuse.org. There is some amount of information. If you want more, please be active. You can try diffuse. You can submit your feedback to us. Again, please just remember that this is alpha. This is a very, very early version of the application. And besides that, we are hiring for this project. So if you're interested in coming and working on diffuse, and you're sharing this vision of the decentralized future for the multi-chain solutions, then please check out the job section on the website. Moving on, another great news this week. T-Pro Network has chosen Aurora Cloud as their go-to technology for launching their TPRO chain. So we are welcome to see Tokenomia coming to Aurora. We have announced our partnership before, and as a continuation of this partnership, they are launching TPRO chain on top of the Aurora Cloud, which is a provider for virtual chains. There are quite a lot of things that the guys are planning to do on their T-Pro network. In general, their idea behind this is to make sure that there is all of the infrastructure around token economies, and this infrastructure is available directly on chain. So anyone who is interested in building or consulting around token economies, they're able to access this infrastructure. That's their idea. There are quite a lot of information again about TPRO network that is going to be shared later on. So please follow the announcements from Aurora and Tokenomia Pro site. So super cool project, great ideas, and looking forward to see how the thing is going to work. There is also a DeFi on-chain economics validation page that you're able to open on their website. This is the core kind of document that you can refer to if you would like to get more information about the TPRO network. Somebody like last week was also some kind of strange memes, and this week also I believe that we have some kind of problem that somebody has this access to our account. I'm going to check with the team what is happening here. I don't know why these things are now continuously appearing in our X account. Sorry for this. Coming back to the proper news, Aurora team was available on the Ethereum Community Conference. So everybody were able to meet these three handsome guys, Armand, Nick, and Andrew, and also myself. I'm not on this particular image. But hopefully everybody who wanted to meet with us were able to do this. At least I had quite a lot of discussions, great discussions. I like to see builders who are building. They're constantly continuing to build. There are some great projects and great potential partnerships coming out from this conference. And another partnership that we want to announce this week is the partnership in between Aurora and AllStakeFi. This is the omni-chain restaking service that was launched on the Near protocol. What they're allowing to do is, if you're familiar with EigenLayer, the restaking protocol, the protocol that allows you to use absolutely the same staking power in order to power validators for multiple networks. So instead of staking on every single network, you're able to use the same kind of collateral to restake it on all of the networks and validate in all of the networks, which in turn increases your yield. This idea was explored by EigenLayer for Ether, first of all, and all of the roll-ups and other chains that are using Ether as a base token. While AllStake is going a step further, they believe that it's not only Ether that deserves to be restaked, but actually any asset. So they are launching what they call an omni-chain restaking protocol. So that's an interesting idea, and obviously being Near project, they are super keen on integrating with Aurora too. So AllStake now is also available on Aurora for the users who are more used to the EVM experience. So welcome AllStake to the Aurora family. I'm looking forward to seeing what is happening with your protocol. And this is also, you are able to find information about the AllStake in the blog that is, as usually, located at aurora.dev/blog. So check it out. And last but not least, we are going to come to the next ECC, which we now figured out is going to happen in Cannes in France. That's an interesting choice. I've never been to this city, but let's see how things are going to go. So see you next year in 2025 in Cannes. Okay, so with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and let me check what are the comments and what are the questions from you guys. Okay, so Teti Sala is asking, when are you planning to add other chains to Diffuse? Since Diffuse is operational in alpha version on the mainnet, uh, we are going to add the other chains to Diffuse at the moment when the chain signatures is going to be released on the mainnet on the Near protocol. It's going to chain signatures technology is undergoing some final checks and the security review. And once it is there, new assets on other chains are going to be added to Diffuse. Yeah, and there was another question from Mr. Powell. In short, what does Aurora aim to be? What type of service will you offer? You can think of Aurora as a provider for blockchain infrastructure. What we are doing, we are developing blockchain technologies that all together and combined make it very convenient to use blockchain. If you will see into the Aurora ecosystem, what is happening in the Aurora ecosystem, our core solution, our core product is Aurora Cloud. This is a virtual blockchain technology that allows anyone in the world to launch a virtual blockchain. I reminded everybody that the virtual blockchain is different from L2 in the fact that virtual chains are inheriting all of the infrastructure from the mother chain, unlike L2. And what it allows us to do is to develop add-ons for virtual chains like Oracle that we have launched with Pith, like a forwarder that forwards your assets from Binance. So like there is a direct integration with Binance, with other centralized exchanges. And also, I was not talking about this, but Diffuse, being an application that is running on top of Near protocol, is going to become a one-stop DeFi shop for every single Aurora virtual network that is going to be launched. So this is what we are trying to do. We are developing blockchain infrastructure that is going to serve everybody. Um, who wants to launch their blockchains or launch their projects on top of the blockchains. And another question is virtual chain better than L2? This is a different concept. Like you have cars, and there are different models of the cars. You have Fiat, Volkswagen, and I don't know, Lamborghini, and uh, they are allowing you to do the same, move from one place to another, but with different intent in mind. So if you're launching a blockchain, you have multiple ways how you're able to do this. You can launch an L1 solution, which means that you need to find validators. You need to make sure that they are decentralized enough, and then they work and decentrally deciding on the blockchain state. This is one route. This is the route of Ethereum blockchain, Bitcoin blockchain, Near protocol, and others. There is another option is to build an L2, and usually when people are saying L2, they're thinking of L2 on top of Ethereum. And the core idea of L2 is that you don't need to think about validators because of some fancy math, you're inheriting the security of the mainnet. And examples of L2s are, Base or zk Sync. These are different technologies that are underlying this ones. And virtual chains is kind of the next step in progression of how you're able to build a chain. Virtual chains, instead of inheriting only the security properties from the mother chain, from the mainnet, virtual chains allow you to inherit all of the infrastructure setup. So it allows, in case there is a stable coin there, then there is a stable coin on the virtual chain. In case there is an integration with centralized exchange, then it is there. If there is a bridge that is integrated with the mainnet, then this bridge is automatically integrated with the virtual chain without any additional steps that you need to do. You don't need to, with virtual chains, you don't need to set up your infrastructure for this chain. And that's the core. This is something that allows you to get to market really, really quick. And yes, and Aurora, and there is different reasons why L2s were created and why virtual chains were created. So um, L2s were the answer to the scalability problem, and just Ethereum needed more block space. And it was an idea that, well, you need to launch more EVMs. This is like fundamental. You need to launch more EVMs, and then once you have more EVMs, then it makes sense maybe to connect somehow these EVMs with the mainnet, and then this idea of shared security model can appear. Virtual chains are not about scaling stuff. Virtual chains are utilizing the resources of the mainnet, but we don't need to scale near protocol on top of which Aurora is working because it is sharded. It can scale by itself. The question is not scalability. The question is creation of more controllable sub networks in which people are able to concentrate their use cases, make interactions in between smart contracts more um, convenient. It is about compatibility with a certain virtual machine type. In the case of Aurora, it is the Ethereum virtual machine that is working on top of Near. But nothing stops us from launching, Aptos virtual machine or whatever, some additional virtual machines on top of Near. So it is not about scalability. It's about creating your own place. And the creators of these places, they are also able to tune some parameters. They're able to change what is the base token, how the gas fees are working, who is able to transact in these chains. Do you need, maybe it's only for, it's the permissioned network where users need to pass KYC, and then only after passing the KYC, they would be able to transact there. Stuff like that. The purpose is different. It's not for scaling. But virtual chains are much better than L2s for building ecosystems from scratch because they do not inherit the necessity of launching all of the necessary infrastructure from scratch. This infrastructure is inherited from the mother chain, and there is $0 that people need to pay to develop this infrastructure or integrate it and to support it over time. Yeah, and then there is another pretty wide question from Lisan. Thanks for this. I will try to do it really, really quick, but it's going to be the last one for today. How does Aurora add value to the Near network? Aurora is a big contributor to the Near protocol. Besides creating a place where developers who have built their smart contracts for Ethereum are able to deploy these contracts directly onto Near. Aurora is contributing on all of the different layers of the Near infrastructure. Now we are working on making sure that Near protocol becomes faster. So we are working on improving the end-to-end latency of the Near transactions. We are working on support of the Web3 wallets directly to the Near mainnet. And many, many, many different things. Diffuse is our project that is going to work on Near, right? So it's just quite a lot of different things. Like we see ourselves as one of the core teams who are working in the Near ecosystem. Okay. Thanks everybody for joining this live stream. I see that we are approximately 200 people here, so that's great. Thanks for your questions. As always, see you again in exactly 1 week from now on the next Friday Alpha League sessions. And until then, have a good one.